Welcome back to Eye on the Money, and today on the show we're talking about investment opportunities, particularly in the real estate sector. And with me in studio to discuss all this is none other than Cornell Mboya, and he's a senior commercial manager, Pazurina Holdings International Limited. So before we took the break, Cornell, you were trying to explain to us, first of all, what is entailed in investing in real estate, you know, how you should go about it. But now to pick up the conversation, again, in line with the perception that real estate is almost guaranteed, you're always going to make a profit. I really would like to hear your thoughts on that. Is it one of those investments that's guaranteed of there's no loss? And also, how long does it take to get a return? Is it one of those things where you should invest your money and expect, you know, the return to come through quickly, or is it long term?
Real estate is a long-term investment because you'd want to be enjoying the fruits of it even up to the second or third generation. Usually, the study talks about 8 to 10% return interest per year, per annum. And that gives you maybe 4 years for you to get your return interest when you talk about real estate, especially when you do maybe commercial or residential, right, for rentals. It's 4 years basically.
So if I want my money back within the year, then real estate is probably not what I'm looking at.
Actually, if you've gotten, it's almost the same as stock market, because stock market also gives 8 to 10, though it fluctuates, unlike the real estate. But once you've done your due diligence and you've done the real estate market research and you've made it easy and known so well where to invest in, maybe probably the location, give it 8 to 10%. 4 years, you'll have your investment return.
Right.
Yes.
So now, what about the perception that you're guaranteed to make a profit regardless?
To some extent, to some extent, no, because currently you see the COVID-related issues. There are so many properties that are vacant. You go to Kileleshwa, Kilimani, the prices that were 80,000 per month currently are 60 and 1,000, and definitely even the occupancy is you can get around 60 or 40%. At least it has gone down. So you can't cast no stone that if you invest in real estate, you will definitely get back your money within that 4 years. It depends with how the business trend is.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm so glad you've even brought up that aspect of COVID, because it's not even just the real estate sector, but we know that sort of impact it had on the real estate sector. So in line with the new realities and how basically the sector is operating and performing, as someone who is trying to invest at this very point in time, how have things changed, and what kind of advice would you give them now in the midst of the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic, considering you've said, you know, there's so many properties out there that are not really moving? So what advice would you give?
In the last 2 years, things were a little bit hard, but currently business is back, and honestly, people are buying. People are back into real estate. And I would honestly advise the listeners that this is the best time to invest in real estate because it is picking up. 2 years ago, because of the COVID, the prices of the properties went down, and currently people are starting from where they were coming up. And definitely when in 3 to 4 years to come, when things will be stable and okay, it will not be easy to get the properties at the current price that they are being sold at now. So this is the best time.
Brilliant.
Take that advantage.
So one time I had a little bit of money and I thought, you know, why not invest in real estate? But when I was talking to a realtor, one of the advice that I was given is you can actually go into this sector either as a passive investor or an active investor. I'd like you to help us shed light more on that, and also how do you decide on what route to take? For example, as Ingrid, how do I then decide, okay, let me be an active investor, let me be a passive investor? What should be some of the things that help me make that decision?
When you talk about active investor, you have to involve someone especially finance manager, wealth managers. You involve someone, so you get your money, you give to someone to invest on your behalf. But when you look at the active and the passive, usually the people in the business usually doesn't want to talk about it much because one, they want to favor one side. People who are so much into passive want to talk about wealth management, finance management. People who are in active also want to talk about their own things. But again, it is the client to decide. If you want to be active, whatever best works for you, it is you to decide after maybe a few consultations from a few people, but definitely with the money that you have in your bank, you can definitely decide whether to be active or passive.
So it really just boils down with what fits you the most.
Yes.
So now before I let you go, Cornell, you mentioned yourself that now actually going by the trends is the best time to invest in real estate. However, I would like to know, what does the future look like? What should we anticipate? As someone who's trying to get into this, like just help us do a small forecast of what the real estate sector in Kenya is going to look like maybe 3 years from now, 5 years from now. What should we look forward to, or what should we be cautious about?
The future is bright. The future is bright. The government has done so much in terms of real estate because as you read early enough in the Sultan report, the government has come in because of it really increases the GDP. And going forward, however much we've been behind for some time, but by the trend of the construction that are going in, the business coming in, the closed shops, the closed offices that went home are currently coming back, and the occupancy of commercial has really improved. Actually, there's a research I'm doing. It will be out in maybe 2 weeks' time in regards to COVID and the commercial properties. It has really been better for the last 1 year since at least it started being a little bit stable and the economy was opened. So things are going to be better, and I can advise that you invest now. As I said, 8 to 10% return interest, definitely you're going to get that. Yes.
Thank you so much for making time, first of all, to come on the show and help us demystify the myths, as well as help us understand where the opportunities lie and also how to go about investing in the real estate sector. Unfortunately for us, our TV audience, that's where we wrap it up today on Eye on the Money. However, I have some very exciting news. We've been having so much feedback at the end of our shows in terms of queries. A lot of you felt like maybe the conversation needed to go on a little further. We found a solution to that. Metropole TV, we've come up with a subscription platform whereby at the end of the show, and we're starting with this particular episode, we'll always have a more extended version of the show where you'll have a lot more information and a more 360 approach to the topic. So make sure you look out for our subscription platform, but also remember you can sign up for our SMS alerts to give you like real, on the hour as it breaks news. And for our SMS platform, you can sign up on 20146. However, before I even let you go, I'm going to leave you with today's financial tip. Now, real estate investing doesn't come with a map, and the road to riches is often winding. There are, however, things you can do to put yourself on the right path and ensure your best chances for success. Listening to real estate professionals and successful investors is a great place to start. So thank you very much for making time today to watch us on Eye on the Money. Remember, we now have a subscription platform where you'll have an extended version of all our shows, and we're starting with this particular episode on Eye on the Money. So you can always catch that on YouTube. We will have a fuller, more comprehensive episode, as well as remember to subscribe to our SMS alerts to give you real-time updates on the business news that is breaking as it breaks. I've been your host, Ingrid Nantege. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the other side.